Now, Dr. Umar, I know you always keep a good beef going with folks. Now who's just trying to box you for $5 million?
Well, what happened was, before my last Black Parent Training Boot Camp in Brooklyn a few weeks ago, someone sent me a video clip of Freddie Gibbs, a hip-hop artist who I had never heard of prior to seeing the clip, but he was on Mike Tyson's podcast, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, and they were discussing attractive white female models, I believe it was. And he told Mike Tyson we should not be talking about this because Dr. Umar is going to be angry. And Mike Tyson said, "Who is Dr. Umar?" And I don't believe for 1 minute that he doesn't know who I am. But he tried to act like he didn't. He said, "Who is Dr. Umar?" And Freddie Gibbs said, "He don't like white people." And I thought that was a very poor misrepresentation of who I am and what I represent. So anyhow, out of fun and out of jest, I said I would like to come on Mike Tyson's podcast, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, and clear up my position on interracial dating and marriage. And I said I would also like to go 5 rounds with Iron Mike Tyson in a funny way to raise money in a charity boxing match to help us renovate the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So it was all in fun and all in jest. But, of course, social media ran with it and made it look as if I was angry and had a real vendetta with Mike Tyson, which I do not. He's one of my favorite boxers of all time.
All right, so to recap, you do not want the smoke with Mike Tyson. Let's just clear this up before he shows up. No smoke with Mike Tyson.
Okay. Attorney, I would get in the ring with Mike Tyson if we could raise enough money to help us renovate the campus in its entirety, which means we would need at least $2 million, but preferably 5. So if someone said 5 rounds with Mike Tyson, $5 million, or even $3 million, I'm taking it. I do believe I can survive him, attorney. Of course, I would be running around the ring for most of those 5 rounds, but I do think I would survive it.
And see, for all of y'all who have ever questioned Dr. Umar and his commitment to education and to the Frederick Douglass Academy, understand that in order to raise money to get this school renovated and off the ground, Dr. Umar is willing to take an ass whooping from Mike Tyson right now just to get the school up and running. I think that is a dedication to our people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But recently we saw Dave Chappelle get into a lot of trouble for talking about and criticizing the LGBTQIAPK plus community. Why do you think there's this outsized reaction when there's a criticism of the white gay community? But then again, when it comes to black and brown gay folks, 44 trans black women were killed last year. You don't hear a peep out of these folks about that. But when Dave Chappelle says something about them, all of a sudden they want to walk out and riot. Why do you think they have that outsized voice for a minority within a minority community?
Of white supremacy. It is another clandestine way for the white power structure to undercut and destroy black men and women who refuse to parrot and co-sign its talking points and its agendas. I also say the same thing for the feminist movement. You never see the white feminist movement do anything when white police kill or abuse black women. They are nowhere to be found. But as soon as R. Kelly goes to trial, as soon as Bill Cosby goes to trial, you see the feminist groups all over the place. You just said it, LGBTQ. You got black LGBTQ being hurt, beat, trans, being murdered. Although I don't agree with the lifestyle, I do not condone in any way, shape, form, or fashion harm against any human being for the decisions that they make. But you don't see the white trans groups speaking up for the black trans populations that have been abused. And Dave Chappelle will probably make history as being the first popular black man to stand up to the transgender movement and not have his career destroyed, because they have successfully been able to sit down, punish, and make other black men retract their statements. Remember, they kept Kevin Hart from hosting the Oscars because of a gay tweet he offered years ago, but said nothing to the white celebrities who also offered insensitive gay tweets.
Now, how do you think that has occurred so effective? Because, as you said, it's very much, Bruce Jenner is a rich white man. He's a conservative Republican rich white man. He transitions into a transgender, and now Caitlyn Jenner is a rich Republican white trans woman, but still has all the privileges and powers of being a rich white man underneath all of that. But if you now criticize Caitlyn Jenner in the exact same way you would have criticized Bruce Jenner, well, now that is seen as being homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, and now you've taken a rich, powerful, privileged white man and turned him into the victim, where to the point that a black man can't even say anything about anything that he does without being accused of being bigoted. How did we allow ourselves to get into that situation?
And that is the hypocrisy of a white homosexual or white woman being considered a minority in the first place. How can you be a member of the ruling population? How can you be a privileged white woman in America, a privileged white man in America, and at the same time, by virtue of your sexual orientation or gender, also qualify as minority? How can you be a majority person and a minority person at the same time? How can you be a protected class, privileged white person in America, and then at the same time be an unprotected class, white female or white male? A white man, whether he is gay or not, still benefits from all the privileges that accrue to any heterosexual white male. There is no such thing as a white man who does not reap the benefits of being white, whether he's gay. Or there's no such thing as a white person who doesn't reap the benefits of being white, even if they are a woman. And that is the hypocrisy.
And so the question is, how do we have actual constructive conversations? Because I feel like Dave Chappelle was trying to have an actual constructive conversation without it turning into homophobia, transphobia, what else, misogyny, sexism. How can it just be we're having a conversation on an issue without all those other things flying in there, that where we actually get to a place of benefiting black folks and not being on the defensive from somebody who just has a newfound minority status that they decided that they wanted to have?
Here's the thing. A great man once said the definition of power is the ability to define reality. The ability to define reality and make everyone accept it.